watching WXYZ 7. Now, Action News with Frank Turner, Carolyn Clifford, Mary Kay Kleist with weather, and Dave Llewellyn on sports.
Good evening to you. Here is the very latest tonight as America fights terrorism. New Jersey health officials confirm that a female postal worker has inhalation anthrax. And the White House Chief of Staff says there may be other letters containing anthrax still in the system. A top British official says the Allies are considering a pause in the military strikes in Afghanistan for the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. And Senator John McCain says he wants to see large numbers of ground troops in Afghanistan. Frank?
It was another difficult day as thousands of mourners gathered at the site of the World Trade Center for a memorial service. New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani joined the family members of World Trade Center victims. Mayor Giuliani said the service was a time of prayer and song for those who've been missing since the attacks. Nearly 4,000 bodies are still thought to be in the Twin Towers rubble.
People who live in a small Afghan village had to bury loved ones killed when a misguided U.S. missile hit their homes. Witnesses said bombs fell on 2 villages in Northern Alliance territory and another which lies behind Taliban lines. In one of the villages, 2 mud houses were apparently hit, and in one of them, a family was preparing for a wedding. In the worst-hit house, villagers said a 20-year-old woman was killed and 6 others were hurt.
Witnesses say much of the U.S. bombing hit the Afghan capital, Kabul, and particularly a road between Kabul and an important opposition-controlled airbase. Many of the planes attacking the Taliban are coming from the USS Roosevelt, an aircraft carrier stationed in the Arabian Sea. Our chief investigative reporter, Steve Wilson, is on that ship tonight, reporting on Michigan's men and women soldiers, and he joins us live right now via telephone. Good evening, Steve.
Well, it's 8 o'clock in the morning here, Frank. Some of the flights that have taken off from the deck last night around 10 o'clock has happened every night since we've been aboard the Roosevelt here, which is in the North Arabian Sea, just south of the coast of Pakistan. Every night about 10 o'clock, they roar off the deck and head off to Afghanistan, and we're told it's about a 3-hour there. They follow their missions and turn around and come right back. Those jets are equipped not only with an assortment of precision-guided bombs, but also air-to-ground missiles. The targets are not set here on the ship, but the pilots are often looking for targets of opportunity, as they call them. And while there are increasing reports that the air war is not having the desired results as quickly as the Pentagon had hoped, the pilots who fly out there every day are telling me a different story. I have a Marine pilot with me, a graduate of the Troy High School in 1989. They call him Rooster, and he flies one of these F-18 Hornets. And your assessment of what's been happening?
It's going pretty good. This isn't the same war as Desert Storm, so things are going to be a little bit different. It's tough to find targets in these mountains in this territory, but I think things are going very well thus far.
So 5,500 people, Frank, aboard the USS Roosevelt, and all of them very charged up, very dedicated, working around the clock as this Operation Enduring Freedom continues.
Yeah, Steve, before you go, we'd like to ask Rooster a question, if he can hear us. If not, if you could relay it. We're hearing a lot about collateral damage. Is there anything he can tell us about that?
It is a very sensitive subject, so I'm going to skip it. But for the most part, I can tell you we are dropping exclusively precision-guided munitions to minimize collateral damage at all costs.
I can tell you, Frank, in talking with a number of the pilots off the record, and this is, as you heard, a very sensitive subject because of the kinds of stories that I heard you reporting here at the beginning of the newscast. Of course, they tell us that there is never an effort to target any particular or any civilian or hospital facility or civilian home at all, but I get the feeling sometimes these precision-guided bombs are not quite as precise as everyone here had hoped that they would be, and I think that perhaps is part of the problem.
You know, Steve, as a lot of folks were watching the second game of the World Series tonight, their thoughts turned to the servicemen and women. Were they able to pick up that game, to hear it, or even see it by any chance, get a little taste of home?
You know, this ship is really a floating city. There's about, 5,500 people on board, and I'm standing now in the control room with a television station on board, and they have recorded by satellite, apparently, the second game of the World Series, and they're just about to turn it around and put it on the ship's television system. So I know Rooster here has already gotten the results, so I don't think there'd be any kind of wagering going on. But he has a little insight that they don't have here yet aboard the Roosevelt.
All right, Steve, we appreciate it very much. Good talking to you. Steve Wilson reporting from aboard the USS Theodore Roosevelt.
Certainly good to hear them laugh just a little bit. Well, Election Day in Detroit is just over a week away, and today the candidates for mayor faced off in a televised debate right here on Channel 7. Christy McDonald joins us now with highlights of the debate and how voters are reacting. Christy?
Carolyn, Gil Hill and Kwame Kilpatrick have debated before, but this was their only televised debate and their last matchup before the election. Their agenda? Win voters over with their stance on the issues, but not without taking jabs at one another. Gil Hill and Kwame Kilpatrick took their places in front of Channel 7 cameras for an hour-long debate. With questions from Channel 7's Chuck Stokes, Guy Gordon, and Val Clark, they took on the issues in hopes of swaying voters. From the budget deficit,
we need to begin a performance audit of each department,
to cleaning up the neighborhood.
Working together with the Commercial Strip Revitalization Task Force, we are going to clean up our city.
They also answered questions about education.
and that's where we can deliver those quality health services to children at the school. And that's a place where the mayor can be involved as well.
And address development.
In spite of what's been written in the newspapers, I have always been a part of development in the community.
But in between public safety, transportation, and casino questions, Hill and Kilpatrick couldn't help taking shots at each other.
If there's nothing that's wrong, why has he been so hesitant regarding answering the questions that have been asked down through this campaign?
It's time for us not to do the same thing, the same way, over and over again, and expect a different result.
The two candidates are in a dead heat, and with just over a week left, this televised debate could help sway some undecided voters.
We'd really love to hear what you think now as a result.
After the debate, phone lines lit up at WJR with callers judging the matchup.
And I think Kwame will do a better job.
Gil Hill is punching, and he came out, and I thought he was just straight up.
Though both candidates were confident in their performance, the intense last-minute campaigning is just beginning.
I don't know who I swayed, but I think I did well.
I think what we need to discuss is who's the best person to move the city forward.
The biggest challenge for the candidates now is to make sure their supporters actually get to the polls and vote on November 6th. Back to you, Frank.
Thanks, Christy. As the search for the sender of anthrax-tainted letters continues, the spotlight is shining brightly on the only company that makes a vaccine.
I think they should be beyond outrage.
Tonight, we'll take you inside Bioport to get answers to tough questions about the company's fitness and if they're capable of handling such a job.
And beautiful sunshine all around Metro Detroit today. We were 10 degrees warmer than yesterday. Our official high was 51 degrees. The norm is 54. The record, though, is 73, set back in 1989. I'll have your 5-day forecast, which includes the trick-or-treat one. It could be a little wet on Wednesday. I'll tell you when, coming up.
The new Breakfast Club family in the morning and soft rock favorites all day. 100.3 WNIC.
Presenting the redesigned Mercury Mountaineer with a standard third-row seat. Fold it down and it disappears, yielding a cavernous amount of cargo space. Raise it and 7 adults can sit comfortably for the most third-row leg and headroom in its class. Now, returning lessees can lease Mountaineer for just $3.99 a month for 24 months, with just $29.99 cash to its signing after $1,000 cash back. See your Metro Detroit Mercury dealer today.
It's not just about saving money. It's about spending time, just dropping by and creating bonds rather than simply buying them. At Edward Jones, it's never just about investing. It's about knowing you and your dreams.
My every hope, my life, my world, it all begins with a dream.
Edward Jones, investing in you and your dreams.
One final weekend to get more at Art Band's anniversary sale.
We do more for you. Art Band is 42.
More store-wide savings. Save 45% off this reclining sofa. Was $13.50. Sale price $7.99. Now $6.99. More time to pay. Do not pay for 1.5 years. More prizes. Enter to win a 2002 Ford Explorer from Varsity Ford. Plus a Polaris snowmobile and trailer from Al Gaskell's. Art Band's 42nd anniversary sale final weekend.
We do more for you. Art Band is 42.
Normally, 95% of patients survive heart disease. With Henry Ford doctors, the average is 97%. That's right, 97%. You might ask, what difference could 2% make? Me.